Next one is you worked in global companies like markets like across different countries and Indian market. And how do you customize a product when you do a R&D and you think that this product has to go to certain markets where there is a lot of changes and differences that is required?
Yes.
How do you handle it? And also, how does a customer feedback influence the product? And you had some, can you give some insights on that?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a certain market which is, by the way, now dropping very sharply, right? Because I always fundamentally believe it was the wrong thing to do. We have these whitening creams which are supposed to make you fairer. First of all, they don't work. It's proven, they don't work. Okay? Salicylic acid is the basic component of that, and it's not good for the skin. But the first thing is, why the hell do you want to make someone fair? Why do you want to do that? First of all, I have a natural skin. This is a European or a Caucasian concept. And somehow, the hangover that the global South has from the global North. Yeah, it's a bit of that, it's a bit of legacy. Now imagine you're going to Africa. Are you going to try and sell this? Is someone going to buy it? You may launch it and you may have whoever the hell you want, the best actress or actors in the world advertising for it. Are you going to sell even one tube? You will not. So you'll have to modify whatever you're doing. I'm just giving you a very blatant example, okay? And please don't take it in the wrong way. Point I'm making is, any product that you have, any concept that you have, it has to match the needs of that specific area that you plan to go and sell in. You all heard of a company called Black & Decker? Anybody here?
Stanley Black.
Stanley Black & Decker. Yeah, Stanley was a different company and then they merged about 10 years back and became one company. These are machine tool companies. And they're DIY machine tools, do-it-yourself machine tools. Okay, so we don't have too much of DIY because labor is still cheap in India. But if you go and live in Europe or Singapore or Korea or the US, the Western world, you'll typically find that labor is so expensive. Most people do small jobs in the house themselves. So they have a lot of machine tools at home. So Black & Decker was and Stanley were global leaders in that. Now they launched a new machine tool, a drill, which was very successful in the US and Europe. And then they said, we take this to Japan. So what did they do? They took the same tool and launched it in Japan. Japan is also a very high cost market. Initially, for the first month, they had good sales, and then their sales nearly went to zero. So then they tried to understand what happened. What do you think happened? Just take a guess. This is handheld. I'm being very specific, I'm giving you a hint. It's handheld, it's used. It's drilled, you can change drill bits, you can do different things with it. Very successful in America and Europe. Japan, people are not buying it. What happened? Japanese are smaller, they are lighter. This tool was first, it didn't fit in their hands. They couldn't hold it properly. The hands are smaller and it was too heavy for them. So then Black & Decker customized this, made it lighter, made the handle smaller and launched a full new range, and they were super successful. Another example. Right? So you got to be very careful about this. Never think that because something has worked here, it worked there. And this is true even for anything like e-com or something you do on the net. We often talk about, if I do something on the, in IT or something on the internet base, the scalability is fantastic. I can go global in 1 month. Sorry, you can't. Because the way Indians buy is very different from the way anybody else in any other country buys. Indians are not Thais. Thais are not Malaysians. Malaysians are not Chinese. Chinese are not Australians. Australians are not Japanese. Japanese are not Americans. They are all different. Be very careful about this.
So can we say the research was not done properly when geography was changed?
You can definitely say that. Somebody got very excited and said, this is successful here, let's go launch it there without thinking. Right? I mean, when you think about it, it sounds pretty stupid, right? You're going to launch in Japan, you didn't think. Cars, the steering has to be different in Japan. You can't have the steering that you have in the US. Japanese don't drive those big trucks that the Americans drive. It's a different mindset. Indian car market is a small car market, right? Now SUVs are picking up, and actually they're not good for the environment or the roads. In the US, it's all SUVs and it's all pickup trucks. Who buys pickup trucks here? Nobody.
Yeah, thank you. I think you answered my next question also. My next question was, suppose you launch a product in the market and it doesn't go well. So we were discussing yesterday, and how do you handle it? So you already told it. So thank you. You're way ahead of us.
I'll just add another thing there, which I didn't cover. Like I said before, if you keep banging your head against a wall, what will happen? Your head will break. So if you have a product out there which is not being successful, and you're trying to figure it out, and let's say after 2 years you're still not figuring it out, and you've already spent 200 crores on this, it's time to call it quits. Don't keep wasting resources, time, money, and frustrating yourself when you're doing that. You have to figure out when to stop. You have to figure out when to say, okay, enough, I'm cutting my losses, I'll try something else. This is important.
Yes.
Never get emotionally attached to a business idea. Now, there's the flip side of that. I just said earlier, commitment and be passionate. So please have your heart in it, but when it's not working, you have to be able to pull back and say, as much as I love this, it's not a good business idea. I'm not going to make money here. Let's call it quits. You have to be prepared to say that. Don't go down the toilet. That's not a good place.
Thank you. So last question is technology, as we were talking about AI and things like that. I'm sure that you should have seen a lot of Google days from 2000 and now AI and many more technologies. So what do you think AI can do for us? I'm sure that you're trying hands on that in Godrej also now. So any insights that we can take it forward?
You should be asking them that question actually. Let me answer it like this. So I've been trying to figure out AI for the last 1 year. Right? I've had Bain, McKinsey, BCG, Microsoft, A.T. Kearney, all these big consultants come and make presentations and tell me what can AI do for me in my business. And it's been very disappointing. To your surprise, it's been very disappointing because nobody has been able to really come and tell me what it can do for my business. So then, 2 months back I decided, I spoke of continuous learning. So I signed up with Northwestern Kellogg's. I'm now doing the AI program for leaders with them because I figured these consultants are not going to be able to tell me, I need to first learn myself. Okay? I spoke of the Professor XLRI as well, right? Where I said, you better learn. So I'm doing that. So I take my own advice. So I'm doing a program on AI now. I finished 1 month. I'm actually doing assignments and I'm getting graded. So far I've passed 3. I have 5 more to complete. Hopefully I'll pass. So far my finding is like this, right? AI in the current version and with the current capability that it has is very good at analyzing, manipulating and presenting data or information in different ways. So if you want to study a contract, AI agent which has been trained, this is very important, okay, because AI is not universal. There are 10,000 types of AI. And if you want an AI agent, and I've learned this in the last 4 weeks, okay, I didn't know these words before that. Okay? So if you want to use an AI agent for something, if you want to do something specific, you better find the right AI agent for that. Not just go to ChatGPT and try to do it, okay? Because ChatGPT will hallucinate. That's another specific word. Hallucination is, it will give you the wrong answers because it does not have access to the data set or the mass of the universe of information that's required to answer that question. It's not being trained on that. Training happens only when it's exposed to that data set and it's run through manipulating that data or that information. I mean, it can be done very fast, but it needs to be exposed to vast amounts of data. That's why you look at LLMs, large language models. So currently, I believe the applicability of AI is fairly limited. And in certain, like take HR for example, you want to create a job description, you want to hire somebody, yeah. Normally it takes us hours to create a good job description. AI agent can do it for you in 2 minutes. You want to analyze the contract for inaccuracies, AI agent can do it for you in 5 minutes. A lawyer or your own legal person, my own legal team will take 2 days to do this. Because it will be an 80-page contract. You have to reach each page, each clause, each word, linkages, interlinkages, etc., etc. So on these things, AI is phenomenal. You go to ChatGPT and you say, here's, I want to launch a machine tool in Japan, give me a business case for this. 2 minutes, you get the whole business case with all the different components. Is it going to be right? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's going to be accurate. Okay? Because ChatGPT's maybe not had exposure to business cases of that type. It'll give you a very generic answer. I have so far not found any application of AI in example. I have 800 people in my factories. I have not found any application of AI in the manufacturing process. Very limited. Limited, so I was in fact talking to an AI expert just yesterday. That was the last meeting I had before I flew to Coimbatore, where she was telling me, well, in manufacturing what we can do is, we can have cameras installed which will look at the data on your DCS systems and give you alerts if things are going off. So I'm like, okay, but I've got somebody looking at the DCS anyway, 24/7. That's what we do. That's what we are good at. Yeah, so the AI can do that. Okay, fine. It's again data manipulation. It's again data analysis, right? So the concept that we had that AI is something which is just going to come and take over the world, there's nothing like that. So nobody needs to be scared about this. Nobody needs to be fearful about this. I don't also believe AI is going to take away jobs, except those jobs that are completely, repetitive, process-driven, where AI agent can actually take over that activity. So the non-value added, the non-value creating processes, I think AI can do that extremely well, way better at 20,000 times faster than any human being, with a much higher level of accuracy, but not beyond that. I think it's far away doing anything else. But what I would advise all of you is, look at it, don't ignore this, look at it, see how you can leverage this. How can it be an enabler? How can it help us do things better? I think that's what each one of us needs to do. What we should not do is ignore it. Yeah, we should not do that.
Being a HR, I would like to represent most of our fresh minds or Gen Zs or whatever, so who are our fresh employees. As you have said, life and career are two different parts. Okay? So some of us fail sometimes in balancing this life and career together. So what are your tips for work-life balance for fresher candidates?
What is work-life balance?
Personal life and professional life.
Personal and professional life, what?
Let's be balanced in a way that it's not affecting your enjoyment.
Let's do it in a way so it's not affecting both. But I like to work. I enjoy it. I'm not married. I like to work 14 hours a day. You want me to work less? You're causing me disturbance now. You're causing concern to me. Then?
Both should be in satisfactory.
What is that satisfying way? Who decides that? Are you going to decide for me?
I think it depends on the person perspective.
Thank you. The first thing about this concept of work-life balance is it depends on the individual. There is no uniform rule. The uniform rule is only probably what I said in the beginning. Look at your mental health, look at your physical health, and look at your happiness quotient. Are you feeling good as a person? Do you feel you're doing something constructive? Are you just happy with the way you are? If these three conditions are satisfied, you're balanced. Now, whether you're spending 10% on physical fitness, whether you're spending 10% on mental health and 80% on being happy, depending on what makes you happy, That's your personal equation. Nobody can tell you anything about it. You know, organizations, we talk of 9 to 5. Nobody really works 9 to 5. This concept has gone 20 years back. There are some people who actually work 6 hours, and there are some people who work 14 hours. You know, I work, I don't know if I count number of hours, probably 10, 11 a day. But actually, the brain is running more than that. You know, it's very funny, even when I'm in the washroom, or I'm having my shower, sometimes I'm thinking about things that time. Is that work? Am I working? No. But I'm thinking about work. There's something going on, there's a problem, there's an opportunity, there's a team member who has an issue, there's a team member I want to promote. There could be so many things. We're just thinking about that. So the first point is, work-life balance is a personal choice. There is really no right or wrong here. What is right is that you make the choice consciously and do what suits you. That is right. There are people, half of you will say, I'm going to do my startup. I'm going to spend 12 hours every day on this, 7 days a week. If that's what makes you happy and you feel that's going to make you fulfilled and successful in the future, by all means do it. I don't think anyone else has the right to come and tell you, except your parents, of course, because they care about you. And if they see you're killing yourself, they'll come and tell you, right? But nobody else really has a right to come and tell you, don't do this. It's your choice. And if you choose, I don't like this. I want to professionally spend only 6 hours because I like to dance. I want to dance for 3 hours a day. And I want to sleep for 9 hours a day, and that's what makes me happy, do that. As long as you can feed yourself and you can be independent. Right? You're not dependent on somebody else to take care of you. It's your choice. So that is how I see work-life balance. What I will say is, think about it carefully, make your choices. Yeah? And if you end up working somewhere, try to see that your organization is aligned with your concepts. Because if there's a misalignment there, you'll have issues. Yeah. And if you want to go and work for Narayan Murthy personally, then you know what you have to do. Yeah, I'm just joking there. He's a great guy. A lot of respect for him. So that's how I personally see work-life balance. Yeah, I've had periods in my life when I have worked like a maniac. Yeah, you talk to my wife and she'll tell you they've been years, not days, but years, where it's been 6 days, 7 days a week. Saturdays I used to go to office. Yeah, never come back home before 8, 9. And now now I'm home by 6:37. And I can also afford to do it now. It's easier. I've got a big, great team and a big team, and we are doing well, etc. I'm not operationally involved in things. But I have friends who made these choices early. I have friends who retired. Yeah, I'm 53. I have friends who at this age have said, I'm done. I'm fed up. I don't want to do work anymore. I'll just do some consulting or do something that's They made a choice. Me, I'm thinking I need to work till 65 at least. Because if I have nothing to do, what the hell am I going to do? I need to be mentally occupied. I need to be intellectually occupied. Yeah. So it's different. So what's right is physical health, mental health, happiness. Make your choices. How you are happy. What's wrong is that you're in imbalance. You actually want something else, but you're doing something else. Then you're going to get frustrated. You actually like a certain kind of work environment, but you're in a different work environment. Look for a different job then. Don't stay there. Yeah? Don't stay frustrated. That is my bottom. That's the bottom line. Don't stay frustrated. Change it. Change the environment or change whatever you have to change. But don't stay in a bad place.
It's a very great perspective. And again, it's still a debating topic. Can AI replace the job that the HR do in an organization?
So I kind of addressed that a little bit earlier, right? Can it replace? You're worried about your job, is it? Because she said HR specifically. AI can replace processes, as I said earlier. Yeah. So it depends. Now, if someone's job is only to scan CVs, right? So we are hiring a role, there are 1,000 CVs coming in, and there's a job requirement, there's a job description, experience, qualifications, roles and responsibilities, etc. CVs are coming in, we're trying to match it. And then there are two people who are just doing this, receiving 1,000 CVs, reading 40 CVs a day, matching, shortlisting. So if you have two people reading 40 CVs a day, that's 80, right? You have 1,000 CVs coming in. How many days is it going to take? Let's see how your maths is. How many days? She's trying to calculate. Roughly 12 and a half days. Okay? 12.25 days exactly. Now you give this to an AI agent who's trained on receiving CVs and matching it. And this is a very easy thing, by the way. It's super easy. The CVs just need to come in a particular format. They can't be all different formats, and the agent won't be able to read it. Yeah. So as long as they're all in a certain format, the AI agent will get this done in 1 hour. 1,000 CVs matching, and it tells you these are the 400 CVs that match our requirements. So if you're one of those two people doing that job of matching CVs to job descriptions, your job's gone. But if you're in the job of, okay, now that I've got a short list of 400 CVs, let me go to the next level and perhaps have a psychographic test done or some psychometric test done on those 400 and shortlist it to 40. That also can be done by AI agent. It's slightly more value added. Then from that 40, now you come to the interview stage, right? Yeah, okay. Because I don't think AI is going to replace that interview process for a long time. Because in an interview, you're no longer checking the hard part of people. You're not checking qualifications and knowledge and experience and this and that. You're checking personality. You're checking attitude. You're checking softer skills. You're checking competencies. I think that's a long way away. Maybe in 20 years or 10 years, there'll be a robot sitting there who will say, welcome to the interview. Sit down, please. Can you answer this question for me? I don't know, maybe you go there. You need to see. Hopefully, I'll be retired by then. That'll be your problem.
I'm into learning and development team. So, what is your perspective on the organization? What are the effective ways of organization can build a culture of continuous learning in both that aligns the career goals as well as the organization goals?
Yeah. It's an extremely important question and a very difficult one to do actually. People come to work. Why do they come to work? You have to start from there. There are some people who come to work because they enjoy it. They like coming there. Their job is what they like doing. Their job is in a field that they enjoy, they're passionate about it, etc. And then there are some people who come to work only because they need the salary. Yeah, because they want to earn a livelihood. Nothing is free, unfortunately, since the invention of money. And there will be a third reason and a fourth reason why people are coming to work. If you want to have a strong learning and development culture in an organization, and if you want people to be continuous learners, there are a lot of things you're going to have to do. First, and also, before I go further on this, I said two things, right? I said people come because they like it, they enjoy it, and people come because they need the salary. Do you think everybody is ambitious? What do you think? This side. The quiet side. Not you. What do you think? Is everybody ambitious?
Not most of. Kind of. In their own way, they are ambitious.
In their own way, they are ambitious. Actually, that's a beautiful answer. That's a beautiful answer. Let me put it like this now. On a career perspective, does everybody want to grow? Does everybody want to become a manager and a general manager and whatever? What do you think? Actually, the answer is no. First of all, it's difficult. These are not easy jobs. Try doing my job. It's not easy. There are times when the stress gets so high, you feel you're going to have a nervous breakdown. You're trying to make a 500 crore decision. If it goes wrong, the impact on that will be massive. On the organization, on the team, and the business will be massive. But you got to take the call, right? So not everybody wants to do this. Organizations assume that everybody wants to do, which I think is a flawed assumption. Okay, so we just need to calibrate on this and be very clear about this. Now coming back, so you want to create a continuous learning environment. I think the organization's responsibility is to provide the avenues for learning and the opportunities for learning. Learning is not bad, so nobody is going to get damaged by learning something new. Yeah, not everybody may want to learn something new, but I'm only saying if you learn something new, it's not going to harm you in any way, even if it's not immediately useful for you. So ideally, everybody should be open to learning something or the other. But the organization can only do a few things. One, the organization can talk about this. The organization can link career growth to learning. The organization can link performance rating to learning and development. The organization can provide opportunities for learning. And I said earlier, right, learning has changed. It is no longer let's put 20 people in a classroom and give them a lecture for 2 days on something. I think that type of learning has become old-fashioned now. We probably still need some of it to create the networking and get people together, but a lot of learning now has to be individualistic, which means it can very well be done online. But what we found, what I personally found, in the last, so many years of working is, less than 5% of people are intentional learners. Less than 5%, I'm not joking. It's actually that. Are intentional learners. What are intentional learners? They have epistemic curiosity. They know what they want to learn more about. And they go and do something about it. They actually search for information, they search for knowledge, and they take that and become better. 95%, out of the 95%, I think half, if you force them and push them, they learn, and the other half, even if you push them, they won't learn. Like they don't like it. It's like you're forcing me to do this, right? So I think learning, a bit similar to work-life balance, it's an individual choice. Do you want to learn, do you not want to learn? And I don't think organizations can force people to learn. Like continuous learning is one of the reasons I believe, let's say I've done fairly well in my life. But not everybody wants to do that. B, everybody is not willing to spend the time and energy doing it because it takes time. You want to read a book, so I try to read a book every 2 months. It takes time because I read every page and I try to make some notes on it as well so that I learn and I can implement it. See, knowledge is useful only when it can be applied. If you take knowledge but don't apply it, it's useless. So there is no point. Yeah, then you can just sit in a dark room and keep reading and thinking by yourself. You can't help anybody with it and you can't help yourself with it. It's pointless. So that's how I would look at it.
That's really a great perspective. So this is my personal question. So I'm a young HR. So as a HR, young HR.
In HR.
Okay. So as a HR recruiter, what is that one quality I look for in the candidate?
What is the one quality you
I
should look for?
in the candidate. I should look in the candidate.
What kind of candidate is this?
Any kind of candidate.
No, it can't be like that. It's different.
Generally.
Then I'll give you a very general answer, which will be you need the right competence.
Possibly mention a specific case for each.
Okay, for HR candidate.
Which function in HR?
HR operations.
HR ops. So if you're looking for a candidate in HR ops, now just so that everyone understands what HR ops is, yeah, this is a role where you have to keep the necessary HR activities in the organization functioning on a daily basis. This is most likely going to be payroll. This is going to be administering all the policies of the organization. It's going to be taking care of leave, absenteeism, etc., etc. Probably even covering insurance and all that stuff. It may or may not cover recruitment because recruitment is nowadays called TA, talent acquisition. It will likely not cover L&D, learning and development, because that's a very focused function nowadays in companies. Okay. It will definitely not cover OD, organizational development, or OI, organizational interventions. These are very focused areas. So if you're looking for somebody like this, first of all, obviously, you will want somebody who has the knowledge. You hire somebody and they come and they say, sorry, compensation? What is basic salary? Then that doesn't work. They need to understand that. They need to understand what the applicable laws are, right? You have somebody who's worked in Bangladesh, the structure is different. You bring them here, the structure is different. They need to understand the local laws on compensation because a lot of these things are regulated. So that's obvious. These skill sets are required, this knowledge is required. But HR ops is a high stress job. It's probably the most high stress job. You know, there's something called hygiene factors. Anyone knows what hygiene factors are? So think of it like this. The AC is working. How's the temperature? It's good. You're feeling comfortable? Do you realize what it takes to keep this AC functioning? You know what's on the back end of this air conditioning system? Anybody knows? Well, a lot of engineers here, right? So you probably know. There are chillers. Depending on what the capacity is, there could be a cooling tower. There will be a whole maintenance team out here who will be taking care of this. Now, what if the AC stops working just now? What will happen in the next 30 minutes? Discomfort. Some of you will be wiping your sweat. All of you will be thinking, bloody hell, I'm stuck here listening to these guys. You know, even the AC is not working. Right? That's what you will think. This is a hygiene factor, the air conditioning. The Wi-Fi. Now we all take Wi-Fi for granted, right? Wi-Fi to hoga hi, it will be there. How can Wi-Fi not be there? So imagine the Wi-Fi stops working. So HR ops is very similar. Everything goes on. Your salary didn't come. 29th, you're looking, salary didn't come. Now one big hangama. One person in 1,000 people didn't get salary. It will go to the CEO. Because this person is going to write to mail to everybody, I didn't get my salary. What the hell? This is discrimination. Somebody hates me in the HR team. Right? So it becomes a big issue. So in HR ops, your mindset is very important. You need to be very collaborative. You need to be very quick and agile. You need to have an eye for detail. You can't miss one number. You can't miss one part of the process. These aspects in the person's competencies, okay, I'm using the word competencies. Competencies are observable and measurable behaviors important for successful job performance. It's a very specific definition. It's behaviors. These competencies are very important. The eye for detail, being able to take pressure, being able to handle employees when they are upset. All this becomes very important in HR. So it's a high stress job. This person needs to be able to take stress as well. If this person is of the nature that somebody comes and says, what the hell, this has not happened, you shut up, don't talk to me like that, then you can't do it. Then don't do HR ops, you can't do that job. You have to be able to say, okay, come, sit down first. Shall I give you some water? What happened? Let's talk about it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the insights. Thank you.
HR ops.
Exactly, sir.